Lisa from Anaya's Toy Box Crochet, and I'm here to tell you what I've been up to. Thank you all for joining me. I love it when you come and see my makes. I love talking about it and I love having you here. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry, or Etsy as Anaya's Toy Box. That was kind of awkward. But anyways, I'm not restarting again. It's staying awkward. I have a hard time self-promoting. I think I've mentioned that before for any of you who's watched any of my older videos. Okay, so let me just jump into what I've been up to. If you watched last week, you might have seen me taking out my Picasso yarn and starting the, I believe it was called the Gold Hill shawl from Ophelia Talks. Well, I got nervous about that one because I felt like I didn't have enough yarn to make it long enough. So I frogged it. And frogging it, oh my gosh, frogging Picasso is a nightmare.
I know.
It was awful.
Hi.
Yeah, my son is here. And anyways, it took me a long time.
It took her like 2 days.
Yeah, it took me a long time to frog it because I had gone through 1 skein and a half. And then I frogged it off. And so I looked up patterns that I had in my library, and I chose to make the hot chili shawl. This is also by Carmen Heffernan or Annie Designs. She does have a YouTube channel. I don't think she has a tutorial for this in her YouTube channel, but she does have a free tutorial on her webpage for this shawl. It's a really, really easy, beautiful shawl. Here's a close-up of it. I love how it turned out. It looks so pretty. Here's what it would look like. I ended up using 3 skeins. Yeah, pretty much 3 skeins of yarn for this. Instead of the whole 4 skeins that I have, because I felt like it was long enough. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's meant to be a scarf. So I felt like it was long enough. Like I could have made it longer, but I don't think the asymmetrical shawls are really meant to be worn over your shoulders anyways. So let me switch back so you can see my face. I don't feel like they're really meant to be worn around your shoulders anyways, and you add too much bulk, it becomes a bulky scarf. So I felt like this was enough, so I used 3 skeins of the 4 Picasso I had, and I do love the way it turned out. It turned out really pretty, and this yarn is so soft. It's so soft. I really do like it. And you know, I have made many of Carmen Heffernan's designs, and there hasn't been a shawl that I haven't liked. Like, I'll admit it, the tendril is my favorite, but I haven't made one that I didn't like yet. Anyway, so this was meant to be one of those designs where you could use one of your one weight fingering weight yarn, or 1 weight 100-gram skein of yarn, you know, like when you buy your special hand dyed yarn. So it was meant for that, and I'm using, of course, 3 weights, and I used 150 grams of yarn, but I think it looks really beautiful. I like it a lot. I hope the person who ends up having it, whoever that person may be, likes it too. Because I don't wear shawls like this because I feel like with the hijab it's too bulky. But I love making shawls. Just don't wear them because I feel it's too bulky. Yeah.
You should give all your shawls away.
Okay. Anyway, so the second FO that I have, because I have a few FOs to show you. I think it's 4. Is this little cat. This is Tiny the Scrappy Cat, and I've never made
the tiniest.
Yeah, I've never made one this small before. This is using my Tiny the Scrappy Cat pattern, and I designed this pattern specifically to use up little bits of yarn. And so I make a lot of these because when I have a little bit of yarn, I'm like, I think I could make something else with it. And I make one of these. So after I made the tendril shawl, there's the sections. It goes in sections. It's rows of 4 sections, okay? Sections of 4 rows. Okay, sorry. It goes in 4 section rows. No. What am I saying? Each section is 4 rows. Does that make more sense?
No.
Okay, each section is 4 rows. So when I was making the tendril shawl, which I showed you last week, I had enough yarn to make 3 rows, but I couldn't finish the 4th row. So I ended up frogging the entire section, which is 3 rows of yarn. And so I had a lot of yarn left over. So I decided to make this little guy. And this is the first time I made this with 3-weight yarn, so it is the tiniest, like he keeps saying, tiny that I've ever made. But anyways, I made him. He's cute. My daughter wants me to put a keychain on him, and she's gonna hang him on her backpack or her purse or something. That's what I have. Okay, so my next FO. Did I say I have 3 or 4?
4.
I forgot one of them upstairs. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. So this is my 3rd FO. This is a kitty, and hi. I thought you were going to the washroom. Okay. So this is my 3rd FO. This is Kittea, Kittea. It's a pattern I made last year, I believe. And I decided it needed a lot of recentering. If you want to know more about recentering, I do have a video about it. But in a nutshell, recentering is that tension, when you're making a shape project, your tension, your yarn weight, the way you crochet makes a difference, and things don't always fall exactly the same as it did for the designer. So you kind of have to be aware, like, oh, if I did the way the designer said the nose comes up here and that doesn't make sense, so I have to go back and put the nose here. So you kind of have to adjust when you're doing more shaped projects. And this is a shaped project. So the nose, I feel like people will still have to recenter the nose. And I feel like that's usually going to be, you're off by 1 or 2 rows, so it's not going to be that big a deal. But the back I felt was harder to recenter. So I worked it in 2 pieces. So the head is 1 piece, and the body and the cup is 1 piece. So originally the way I designed it is you worked from the top of the ears all the way down to the bottom of the cup, and you just had to sew on the tail and the handle. I changed it so that you don't have to do as much recentering on the back to make it a little easier, so that you do have to sew on the head to the body. So they're 2 separate pieces now. I rewrote the pattern, and I have already uploaded it. So if you ever have bought this pattern, which is available in Ravelry, you should have already gotten a notice saying there's been a change to the pattern. So I reworked it, and I needed to, although I can rework it mathematically, I wanted to remake it just so I got it right. Anyways, this is what I made. I liked it. I used the neon stripes yarn, and I have a whole skein pretty much left. I thought, okay, I'm going to use up the yarn that I had that I made with the bunny, and then I'll start with the next skein. Well, I didn't need to do that. I had enough yarn to finish it until this row. So just the handle and the top row here, the rim, is the new skein. So I have a whole skein left that I need to figure out what to do with. But so far, I got this kitty, and I think he's adorable. I love him. I do like this pattern. I've gotten to the point where I want my stuff to have more shape. So I love him. I finished him. He's done. There's a chair over there, so that's why I tossed him there. Alright, so for my last FO, it's not exactly an FO. There is still a lot of embroidery left to be done. But I finished the crochet part of my puppet. Here he is. This is the zombie lying puppet. I think before I just showed you his face, up to his face where I just had finished his eyes. Well, now I got him all done. So I did everything except for the embroidery. So there are like little details to make it look more like a zombie that I haven't done. And I'm a little annoyed with myself because I didn't fully wire this doll. I didn't. But I couldn't find the cotton swabs. I use cotton swabs to put neck support on these dolls. And as you can see, he's a bit wobbly compared to my other dolls. So I didn't fully wire this because I was going to use the cotton swabs and I couldn't find it. I had actually packed it in a different place than I did my rest of my crochet supplies because I forgot to pack it and remembered at the last minute, so I just packed it somewhere up. You know, grabbed a bunch and packed it here. The thing in Canada is cotton swabs have a paper base, and while I understand that there's nothing wrong with it and it won't be washed, I don't want it to get ruined because of something I put inside it. So I like to use the ones that are plastic. I know they're bad for the environment, but you know, it holds the doll together. But in Canada, they don't have the plastic ones, which is why I bring my own cotton swabs when I come here. In fact, it's getting harder to find the cotton swabs in New York. I'm gonna have to find an alternative. But I couldn't find the cotton swabs, so I just put in wire. And if you're not wiring the whole doll, the wire itself is not so steady. Well, it's done. The only way I would be able to fix it is by frogging a bunch of stuff and picking off the, like if I were to pick off the nose, like cut the nose off, I'd have to redo the nose, I'd have to redo everything. And frankly, I don't have enough yarn left. This yarn that was wonderfully gifted to me by Yarn Hag Ryan, it's Mary Maxim's Amigurmui yarn. I don't have any more of. I have enough for a little, I'll have a little bit, enough to put in a basket, but not to make anything else with. So I don't even have the gray anymore to do it again. So I'm just gonna learn to live with a wobbly head. That's what I'm gonna have to do. But anyways, I finished him, the crochet part anyways. You'll see him again when I do all the embroidery. But I did struggle with the idea of whether I should get my mom's sewing kit and like, because I couldn't find any floss that was black in Walmart, and that's number one, although I could have gone to Michael's if I tried harder. Number one, I didn't bring my embroidery needles with me. My mom sews, so she has sewing needles, and I was a little weary about using the sewing needles with embroidery floss because, anyways, long story short, which isn't really a long story, it's just my thought process, I just decided, wait till you go home and then finish him up. But there he is, all crocheted up. Almost ready to go. Almost ready. Just a little bit of, I'm calling it a nefla though, because all the crochet part is done. I do have some minor embroidery stuff to be done when I get home. When I get back to New York. Isn't it funny? Like the whole time I was in New York, I'm like, I can't wait to go home to Canada. I can't wait to go home to Canada. And now that I'm here, I'm saying, oh, when I go home to New York. I grew up here, but I live over there. But anyway, so yeah, he's done. So those are all my FOs. I do have whips to show you, one whip and one knitting whip. I'm going to show you the knit one first because there's not much to see. I mean, it's knit, it takes a long time, and I haven't made too much progress, but I did want to point out to you guys, hey, why are you stuck in there? This is my dabbling hook bag, by the way. So is this one, dabbling hook. Love them both. Anyways, here is my turbulence shawl. Take a look at that. I did that much, which is what, like about an inch? Not too much. I admit I didn't knit much this week. But remember last time how I was saying, I can't wait till I get to the color change. Well, the other day I was looking at it and I noticed, can you see? Oh, this, because of the glare you can't. The color change is so gradual that I didn't even realize. Can you see? It's a gradient. Can you see that, like over here, it's a little darker? I don't know if you can tell, but over here it's a little darker than down here. And so when I was saying, when will I get to the color change? I had already reached the color change. I love this yarn. It's beautiful yarn. Unfortunately, it's not easily available here in the US, or in the US. I got it from Villerita. It's called Elise Diva Batik, I think. No, not Batik. Batik is the other one. I have an Elise Batik, but this isn't it. Ombre, oh, it is. Elise Ombre Batik. Beautiful ombre. love it. I'm loving this shawl. It takes me a long time. And it's going to take me, I'm going to be showing this to you for I don't know how long. But you will be seeing the shawl again. Here's a close-up of the turbulence part of the turbulence shawl. It is still nowhere near looking like a shawl. But I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. And it is teaching me a new stitch, which is the slip knit. Something I didn't know what to do. And I want to slowly build up my inventory because I want to knit myself a sweater. I am being overly ambitious. I know this, but I still want to do it. I haven't even, I've crocheted myself a sweater. I don't think it's, I mean, successfully in the sense that it is how it's supposed to be. I just chose the wrong size for myself. I should have done a size smaller than the one I chose, but I've done it, and I haven't done too many more crochet stuff. I didn't bring any crochet sweaters here, although I have one waiting for me at home, because, you know, I'm on vacation, and I just felt like easier stuff is better when you're on vacation. Anyways, the last thing I'm going to show you is my latest whip. It's a whip. And this is a boba. Yeah, just a boba. I was going to say a boba what? It's just boba. I still have to make the little boba pearls, which I am going to glue on. These are the eyes, but I'm going to, not glue on, sew on. I'm going to make little circles of boba all over the place. So the story behind this is when we went to Niagara Falls, my daughter found a toy she wanted, which was a boba. Like this. It was bigger. It was like this big, but it was ridiculously expensive for something that was man-made. It was so expensive. Not man-made, sorry, machine-made. It was something that was machine-made, and it was ridiculously expensive. I'm like, it didn't take much time for them to do it. Each one probably took like 15 minutes to do it, and they're charging so much, and people are buying it. I said, I'll make you one that's better because this one's handmade especially for you. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm almost done. I just have the bubbles left to do. This is making up as I go. I don't know if I'll share the pattern or not, meaning I don't know if I'll publish into my Ravelry store or make a tutorial. If you guys are interested, let me know, and if you are, I'll think harder about it. Anyways, I'm making this up as I go. It's not that hard to make. It's one piece. You start at the bottom and you end at the top. I still have to weave in my ends, obviously, and yeah, and make the little boba pearls. So you'll see this next week. Done. I am dreading the boba pearls, I have to admit. Making little circles and then sewing it on isn't my idea of fun. It isn't. I'd rather make, I tried to crochet it. Like, the reason why it's so big is I tried to do it with color change. So I would do the circles with color change, but the circles turned out so big they looked odd that I decided, okay, I'm going to use DK yarn and a smaller hook and make smaller circles. Oh, there's a butterfly. Sorry, I got distracted by the butterfly that was dancing around. Anyways, so I'm going to be making boba pearls for this and sewing it on this, and then it'll be done. I used the yarn Red Heart Super Saver in the colorway Retro Stripes for this, and this is Paintbox Simply DK. I had to double it up because I didn't bring everything with me. I brought very little yarn with me. Because, you know, when you're traveling with 2 kids and you're traveling alone, you're very aware of the weight on your baggage. So I came with the intention to buy, and I did buy a lot of yarn. But I also bought in a way that I tried to finish most of it here, so I don't have to take much back. This one is one of them that I bought, and I used the white I bought just in case I needed white for something, like the Lying Doll. I almost said his name. Lying Puppet Doll. Just in case I needed it, I brought some white with me, so I just doubled it up and made the straw with that. I still have to weave in ends, and it'll be done soon. I'm not looking forward to the sewing. Not at all. You know, like, my patterns turn out very complicated because I try to avoid sewing. But anyways, I am going to make little circles. If I ever make this in the future, I might buy black felt cut out circles and just glue them on. I'll let you know how it goes when I finish it. But anyways, that is what I've been working on, what I've been up to. Oh, by the way, this is living in this bag, which is by, oh, I keep forgetting to tell you, Fancy Boy Designs.
Fancy boy design.
Yeah, Fancy Boy Designs. Yeah, so that's living in this bag while I'm getting it done. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to hear more from me, please subscribe. Bye.